Welcome back to Myths and Legends from the Appleton Museum in Ocala, Florida. And we have a lot to do today. You are going to paint your unicorn. We'll just do a little bit on that. And then we're going to work on Medusa's drawing. And that is going to be really fun. I think you're going to love that. So this first, I want to show you how I did this one. When you put your fingers over the main, you're going to feel that texture, the raised part, because you drag that through here, okay? So what I want to do is I just want to paint the highlights. I don't want to cover all of that white. In fact, I'm not going to paint this at all. So I'm going to use a sponge. If you don't have a sponge, when you use a paintbrush, you're going to use a technique called a dry brush. You don't really want to load it with a lot of paint, and you're going to wipe some of that paint off on a paper towel. But with the sponge, I'm going to dab this in a little bit. And actually, I'm going to take some of it off. And I am just going to wipe it across. In fact, I'm just going to use select areas. So if you see, I'm just getting the tops of that clay. I'm not getting down in those grooves. I want to still see some of that white. So I'm just going to go a little bit on the tops. I'm wiping it. If I was using a brush, again, I don't want to load my brush up with paint. I might even tap some of this off, and I would very lightly brush across the top. If your unicorn is stuck to the paper, just leave it on the paper right now. Eventually you'll be able to take that off. If you're having trouble taking it off, I'm going to show you. Put your hand on this side and turn it over, and then carefully peel it off. But if it's stuck on there right now, just leave it because it's probably still drying. Okay, so don't worry about that. I'm going to put a little blue here. And if you go over the pink, you guys can know pink and blue is going to give you purple. So I'm going to make some purple spots. You can use whatever colors you want. Absolutely. Any colors that you want. I just kind of like to use the blue and some pink. You can put paint on a paper towel right now. You can use that too, because we're not using a lot. You're using very little. And I'm just going to highlight this again. I think I'll switch back to the pink. Let me put some more pink in here. And I am not going to paint my unicorn's face. I want to leave that white because I want it to be very different. Now, if you really want to get in all of those grooves, you can take your paintbrush and you can really paint this solid. And that's your choice. Okay. I particularly like to have a little bit of that white showing so I can actually see the grooves and the texture in the main. But I am going to mix up a little purple because you know what? I want the eye. I am going to paint that eye. If you don't have a paintbrush, guess what? Your finger works great. And I'll put a little color in the nose there. I'll put a little color on that nose. So I am going to add a little glitter on that horn, but I think I might just put a little paint on there first. And right now I'm not going to pick it up. I'm just going to I just do along the sides. You can always use this sponge to just wipe that on. And I'm working on a piece of paper as well, because I am going to put a little glitter on here. We're not doing a lot of painting unless, like I said, unless of course you're going to really paint that entire mane, but I'll just put a little stronger pink in there. You know what? You can use either. You can use tempera paint, which is basically poster paint. You can use, I use acrylic most of the time when I paint. It's just that's a personal preference. I like the acrylic, but maybe a little bit more blue, which if I go over my pink, it's going to turn purple. Actually, I think I've got enough in there. You know what? If you look at this one, and then this one, I've got more color. I painted this one a little bit darker. So I'm going to put that one back. So now I'm going to put that paint away, and I have some glue. I'm going to squirt some glue right down that horn, and you can use, I tend to use my fingers, and I'm just going to spread that glue out around that horn. And I used silver before, but you know what? I went in the cabinet the other day and I found some pink. So I'm going to put that on here, tap that off, because then I'll put the rest of this back. I'm going to fold that paper back up, pinch that so that'll all go back in here. Now this one, I have some sparkles in here, and if you want to get really fancy, okay, here we go. Put some glue. Whoops, I closed that. Put some glue on your finger and kind of wipe it. You never know where the glitter is going to collect. Now I'm just wiping this over, and let's try this. I am just going to do this, and we'll see what sticks. glitter can get really messy. And to be honest with you, I think I have too much glitter. Actually may wipe some of this off with my finger, but that's why I always use glitter on top. So then, like I said, I can collect it and then I can put it back in. And this paper I will throw away. If I use it for something else, that thing will get glitter on it. So I'm just going to leave this. That's a good idea. If you have a shoebox, you can use that because that shoebox, just, the sides of it, the top or whatever, will contain all that glitter. As because I've got some on this black paper right here now that I'll have to brush off later. Mine is dry enough to paint, as long as it's not really like fresh wet clay. The fresh wet clay, it's not a good idea to paint that. It's better to give it a chance. All right, I am going to put this aside and let me brush my glitter off. To draw Medusa, you really do need some time, and it's probably a good idea that we start that now. Okay, getting my colored pencils. I have drawing pencils. I have an eraser. I do have a pencil sharpener in case I do break some, and extra colored pencils, extra drawing pencils. I hope some of you printed out the picture of Medusa. Caravaggio is the painter that did this, okay? The original is in Italy, and I actually did see the original painting, and it's pretty awesome. But this face, he did of himself. Now, Medusa, her hair is snakes, and this is perfect for myths and legends because this is a myth. This is not true that she had a head full of snakes, but this is going to be really, really fun to draw. Okay, we are drawing Medusa. I'm going to show you how to draw a face. This particular artist decided to use his own face, but we're going to look at this face right here. We're going to look at the shape of the mouth, the nose, the eyes, and I'm going to help you draw those things. This is the perfect thing to end the week with myths and legends. All right, we are going to start drawing. Medusa's mouth is like screaming. So if you think that you're screaming, you have this like oval shape to your mouth. And I'm going to draw this first. It might be hard for you to see. I am going to draw it in pen. Normally I would draw everything in pencil, but I think it would be easier for you to see it. I am going to draw an oval, or kind of like a circle, towards the bottom part, because I don't need a lot of space down here. I need more space at the top of the paper for snakes. So this is my mouth. Inside this, I want you to put another little half circle. This is your bottom lip. And I'm going to do another one here, actually kind of like an M, up and down and up. That's that, almost like an M for the shape of your upper lip. In here, let's put some teeth, just little blocks. I'm going to put a couple down here, and I'm going to put a couple up the top because this person is screaming. Now a nose, I'm going to take some scrap paper here. A lot of times the nose is very simply a slanted line down and a line across. That's very simple. So if I did a slanted line down and a slanted line across, that could be a nose. In this case, I want to make that a little bit nicer. So I am going to slant it down, but I'm going to kind of curve it. And the side of your nose, if you put your finger on the side of your nose, you're going to feel that nostril. And I'm just going to curve that into. So I have a long line. So I'm going to put this long line and I'm going to curve it. And there's that nostril. I actually could have made that nose longer. There's an awfully big space between here. Right here, top of the nose, because Medusa is screaming right here. Her face is kind of crunched up. So there's like this little line here. In the painting, you can see that, they're crunched up. And your eyes, I'm going to put a dot, and I'm going to put a dot over here for the inside. Okay, let's work on the eyes. So I'm looking at the inside corner, and I'm going to put another dot, and I'm going to connect, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I've got the inside dot here, and I'll connect those. Medusa's eyes are looking down. So that part of your eye, you've got the iris, the pupil, and the iris. The iris is the colored part of your eye, and the pupil is that black dot. So her eyes are brown. This would be the iris. And since she is looking down, I'm going to put that pupil right down on that bottom line because she is looking down. You know what? Some artists will draw the outside shape. I do not do that. I tend to put the features in and then I go back around because sometimes I feel that if I do the outside shape, then I don't get the features in exactly where I want them. That's kind of up to you, I guess. But this is how I do it. Because now when I look at this face, I see a slanted line here and a slanted line down for the jaw. So I am going to put this slanted line, comes down to almost where the mouth is. And see the bottom, like the chin is right below. So I'm going to curve this down here. Then there's this big jaw line that goes up to, there's an ear here. And I'm just going to finish this head. Don't forget, you have a forehead up here. So there is space between your eyes and the actual hairline, or in this case, the snake line. Okay, there is a line up here. So I'm just going to draw a curve up here. This is my forehead, and I still have to put in eyebrows. All right, I am going to switch to a pencil now because I want to do some shading, and I am going to use a black pencil to put those eyebrows in. Do you see how the eyebrows go down towards the inside of the eyes? Because I'm screaming, I'm upset. So I want my eyebrows, I'm going to draw a line here, a slanted line first. And then I'm just going to use up and down lines to make my eyebrow. And I'm going to go over towards the edge of the eye. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use up and down lines. And I'm going to get thinner towards the end of my eyebrow. So now I look pretty upset here. All right. So the forehead, you need to leave some space between the eyebrows and the forehead. And this would be the top of the head here. The shading, all this, look at how dark it is inside those eyes. I have that deep, deep black line for the eyebrows. I'm going to just do up and down inside that area between my eyebrow and my eye. See, I want to show that darkness, but see, I am going to do some shading. Again, I'm just doing up and down. That's all I'm doing. Up and down, attach that to the other side. And I'm going to do some shading under the eye because this face is showing horror because it's got snakes. So I'm going to go inside here between the eyebrow and the eye, and then a little down in here. And I'm just doing up and down, soft little lines, but I'm giving this a really dramatic look. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to color in those eyes. Yes, we're going to go back and we have to add the eyelid. Okay. I'm going to add that. This time I am going to use my pen. Right now, this eye is wide open. It doesn't even look like it has an eyelid. I'm going to go back to that corner. Whoops. And I'm going to draw another curved line. This right here is your eyelid. So another curved line. There is your eyelid. Okay. I can darken that up if I want to, but I like to use my pencil at this point to just shade this in. And I use black, but you know what? If you want to use another color for the eye, this is a brown pencil. You can use whatever color you want for the eye, for the iris, the colored part of your eye. And I'm going to put another little line underneath because this person is really worried. And I'm just going to blend this in. This person is really upset. What I'm doing right now is I'm going to color in around my teeth because when you open your mouth, there's no light gets inside your mouth. So the best way to show that your mouth is open is to color in a dark, and I'm using black. Show that scream. So we're screaming because we have a head full of snakes. You can do a little shading down the edge of the nose if you want to, and a little bit under the nose. The head is just kind of suspended. It's like a floating head. That's the way he painted it. I was going to say, from this jawline here on the side, you can add a neck if you want to. So if you're going to add that neck way back here, where that curve of the jaw, that's where you want to put just a start of a little curve. We don't need to put a lot down here because I'm going to use more of this part for snakes, but I can put a line here and a line here for a neck. So I've got the face, I've got the eyes that are just horrified. I've got my mouth. I want to talk to you a little bit about the snakes, the shape of a head. If you start, you can actually draw on the back of your picture to practice your snakes. If you have an oval shape, okay, and I'm going to draw this darker, and I'm going to make the front part more, instead of coming to a point, almost like a square, a flat line here. And a snake does have a jaw. So back here, I'm going to put a curve. There's the jaw of that snake. And I usually, just to make this snake look a little evil, I give it an eyebrow. And there is the eye. And snakes, if you look at them, they have that straight line for how they close their eye. Now you can put a little line for a mouth if you want to, or you can put some of them have a bump on the top of their head, but you're still starting with a basic oval. And now I'm going to connect a line here, and I'm just going to make that a wavy line. Okay, this would be my snake. Now I started to draw one down here, and I'm going to show you with the marker. If you want the snake's face coming towards you, I'm going to have you start almost like a little curve. Okay, slant it back and out, slant it back and out. This is where you would find that snake eye in that bump. I would put the nostrils, and then this head would come back and of course into the rest of that snake. So this snake is coming towards you. Your snakes really can be any colors you want. You know, I did this one. Look at how crazy that one is. I have purple snakes and orange snakes and green snakes. What I'm going to do first here is figure out where I want my first snake. And I've got a space right here. So you know what? I'm going to put a big head here. I'm going to make that oval. I'm not going to put an ear in there. I'll put another little line over here. This is going to be a snake. Let's say this snake. I'm going to curve this over and around the head. And then I'm going to put this other line. I'm going to match that line. And this one is just going to go, just attaches to the head. So there's one snake. And you know what? Right now, I'm not going to do color. I want to add more snakes. Yeah, I'm just going to outline everything in black because I think it's going to be easier for you to see it. And I'm going to put another twisty line through here. And maybe I'll have a snake come over here. So let's do that little face coming towards me. Little curve, slant it back, little bump where the eye is going to be. And this is going to curve into, and that's going to go back there. And I'll just do this. There's my scrap paper. I'm just going to keep drawing. I may have a snake just pop out here. I'm just going to have a head pop out. There's an eye. There's that little slithering snake, okay? Little nostrils on that snake. So right now, all I'm seeing is a head. I don't need to see a whole body. If you look at this, a lot of times you don't see every single head. There's just a whole tangle. You can just keep making wavy lines through here. Let's make just a wavy line. Oh, maybe this is going to come across her forehead. This could be part of a snake. This is going to be, and I'm going to make that double line because this is part of a snake that's going to come up here. And this is a skinny little snake, and it's going to have a little head up here. Let's stop drawing snakes for just a minute and add some patterns. I actually brought a book about snakes. And if you look at this one, you may not be able to tell, but it's really, really orange. And it's got green spots in it, and it's got some green on its head. This one's pretty cool. So snakes can have all different patterns. This one has all those little tiny scales. So I'm going to make this snake my orange snake. Sometimes when I'm drawing and I want to mix in different colors, I will use up and down lines. But see, I'm leaving those spaces because I want to kind of copy that orange and green. And in these little spaces, I'm going to add a little green. Does my snake have to be absolutely real? No. This is my Medusa head, and I can make my snakes whatever color. And I'm going to bring some of this green down into the head. And I think maybe straight down and then around the eyes. That does look like a University of Miami snake. So I'm going to mix this orange in here. And I would just keep going. I'm going to turn this because my snake is going this way. And like I said, I do up and down, and I purposely leave spaces. I have to keep track of where the snake is going. All right. And that snake goes down behind the top of her head. So here's some green in here, some green in here. You know, you can get really creative with the patterns in your snakes. So then I have a snake here. I have the head of a snake. I'm going to add some more snakes though, but instead of drawing them with black, I'm going to draw some other colors. I like to use colored pencils, and I'll show you actually with this blue one. See, I'm going to see this, make sure this blue one's going to go underneath here and maybe come around here. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to put the head of the snake here. With a colored pencil, I can do shading. I'm not putting much pressure on this pencil right right now, and I can just shade this in nice and even. But now with a little more pressure, I'm going to make curves. Remember, snakes are round. So if I was going to make lines inside of a snake, I want to remember that a snake is round. So my lines are going to curve, which will give you that illusion of roundness. And I'm going to just keep making those curves. My snake is round. I'm going to make some more here. See, I could go back here and I could make this a pattern just using blue. So I could press hard on this and I could make a pattern just using blue. That's the nice thing about colored pencils. You can go light by using very light pressure, or you can go dark. And did you see what I just did here? I went in this direction and then I crossed it to color it in. This is called cross hatching. So if I want to do cross hatching, let's do it on this one. I'm going to do this. Okay. I'm going to color in this way. But a lot of times when you color it in, it leaves spaces. So cross hatching, I'm going to cross it. And this helps me to fill in any of those other spaces, that those white spaces that were left. And then I can, just keep touching. The other thing is, let's say, all right, I'm going to do a space. Let's just do a space. I want to blend colors. So I'm going to take across this way, but I want to blend colors. So my next color, I'm going to cross it. This is a great way to blend colors and make a new color. So now I'm creating a purple by using cross hatching and do some more. Most of my snakes are going down. I need to have some snakes going up. So I'll finish that blue snake later. I'm going to make a snake coming up here. So, because you made me think, all right, so there's the snake's jaw and there's that snake. I need to make a whole lot more snakes and I need to do some coloring. But I think I'll just draw some snakes with different colored pencils and then go back on working on the snake. But the other thing I can do is I can fill in, see, I can just make a curved line in here without even making the head of the snake. I just want to fill in the spaces so it looks like, here's another one. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to make a curve. I have no head to this. It could be on the back of her head, but it's a snake someplace. I'll put some more colors in here. Let's see. Let's make a brown snake. I'll make a snake up here. This one will come up. There's the jaw. I'll make that oval. I'll just make a curve here. There's an eye. There's a snake. I got to go back and finish that blue one. I like this orange, but you know what? I'm going to just put stripes in here and purple stripes. I'm just going to go up and down. This is a fast way to make stripes. I have not done any diamonds yet, but hold on one second. I'll put these purple in here and then I'm going to do like V shapes or maybe like U's. That's better. U's. And I'll just keep doing these U's and hooking them into each other. So this one is going to have scales, which are easy to do if you can draw the letter U, which you can. I know you can. Here's another one, another stripe. Put some U's in here. I'm going to start up here, but I'm going to make these tiny because the head is smaller than the body. So I'm going to make these little U's smaller and they'll get bigger as they go towards the back of the snake. Make sure I can see that eye. And I'm going to add some of this orange. It's kind of a burnt orange color. I'm going to color very lightly. I can still see my purple outline, but I'm picking up the color of the outline. If you don't want to add color to your snakes, you can do everything with a pencil because even with a plain pencil, I can do shading. And we talked about shading. You can shade very lightly. You can shade a medium and you can shade a dark. And if you wanted to make your snake, you know what? Let's do this one right here in plain pencil. Remember what I said about you want that snake to have some roundness? Okay, I am going to take my pencil and I'm just going to go up and down along this edge until it turns. And then I'm going to stop. I'm going to go do cross hatching across that and bring it up. And I'm going to ease up on my pencil. Very dark along the line. Ease up on my pencil. Dark, press hard. Oh, ease up, ease up, ease up, ease up, ease up, ease up, ease up. Again, dark and then get medium and to light. Very dark, lighten up. Just go easy with your pencil. And then it gets lighter because the sunlight is probably hitting on the top of the snake. Okay. So it's dark around, and I could do a little bit of darkness on the other side. I don't want to do too much. I want it to still look round, okay? So I'm going to stick with this here. You know, this darkness, I can come around, but I'm going to change the darkness. I'm going to change it over here because you know what? It's in shadow from this orange and green snake. So this is going to be dark and goes to medium. Dark goes to medium. Dark, ease up, ease up, ease up, ease. Slow down and just ease up. See, and I'm going to make it kind of dark because right here, it's underneath another snake. So I am going to make it kind of dark all the way across there because it's underneath another snake. But you can do the same with a colored pencil. This one right here, let's do this one. I'm going to color really dark. I'm just doing up and down along this side, and I'll do up and down. So I'm going to go cross hatch and I'm going to slow down. Get lighter, you need to slow down. So I'm going from dark. I start by going crossing my dark and then I ease up on my pressure. I'm not pressing as hard anymore and I'm just almost barely touching the paper. So I'm going cross hatching and then ease up, get lighter, very much lighter, and barely touching that. And if I don't do anything over on this side, that's fine. That's the lightest side of my snake. I'm going to do the same thing here, just a little bit underneath here, and I'm going to come up. And I'll do the same thing here. Now, this section is underneath a couple of snakes, so I might do it a little bit, just add a little bit more medium, not dark, but medium, because it's underneath some. So you can do the same type of shading with a plain pencil, which can be beautiful. Your picture could be beautiful with just regular pencil, but you can also do shading with your colored pencil without adding any patterns or designs. The bottom here, I'm going to choose, let's see, I'm going to use two different browns. I want to show you just one more time the picture. See how this side of Medusa's face is darker? It's in shadow. So I am going to do some shading and I'm going to do long strokes. When you're coloring with colored pencils, try and do everything in one direction first. Okay, remember I mentioned cross hatching. So I'm going to do it this face all in one direction. I'm going up and down. Sometimes if you use colored pencils in too many different directions, your lines seem confusing and your picture can be a little confusing. And in this case, I'm doing skin, so I want it to look smooth. So I'm going to actually go over the eyes. I'm going to go over everything because remember, this face is kind of dark. So I'm going up and down all over this face in the same direction. Now I want to do some shadow on this side. You can use this pencil and just press darker. You know, you can do that. You can see how I'm just pressing harder on this. One other thing with Medusa, there's a line. This is like where your cheek would be. So it's kind of up here by your nose. I'm going to make that line. It's like a curve that your face might make when you kind of scrunch it up. And I'm going to draw that in. And I'm just going to keep doing some more shading in here, right up here, because the snakes are up here. The snakes are covering part of my face. So I'm going to shade that area a little bit darker. You can also go and take a darker pencil. And because I want this skin to seem smooth, I am going in all the same direction all the time. Let's try some cross hatching just to see what happens. So I'm going to do this side of the face. I'm not pressing very hard because I don't want to see lines. I just want to see areas of skin tone. So I'm going very lightly, but I'm cross hatching. So I want this side of my face to be a little darker. And you know what? I forgot to do the forehead. So I've got to go back up here and do some shading in that forehead, do that little bit of cross hatching. That's a snake. That's part of a snake that I have to go back and do. And you can always, I'm going to take this brown and go right in over and blend it in with my black because this is part of my face. So if I'm using brown out here, I have to use brown in there. That is part of my face. And I'm going to come over here and blend the brown in with my skin. So the nose, because your nose sticks out, it usually is the lightest part. There's usually light on here, but this is the side of my nose. So I'm going to do some shading. This is the top of my nose that pokes out. So it doesn't have so much shading on it. Underneath my nose, probably a little bit of shading. I'm going to do a little shading on the side of the face here because your face is round and it turns. So if this is the front part, see your face turns. So there would be a little bit of shading on the side here. here, and I'm just going to blend that in. And now my chin shades my neck. So underneath here is definitely going to be dark, and my neck is round. I remember it's round. So I'm going to start dark over here. I'm just going to finish a little more shading here. I started a little dark here, and I'm going to go cross hatching, and I'm going to go to medium. But underneath the chin here, I'm going to just use a regular pencil. You know, when you use colored pencils, you're going to find you kind of go back and forth. See, I started with black. I added some regular pencil. I'm going to add some black underneath her neck here because I really want to show some shading. Plus, I outlined it in black. So I might as well blend some black in here. I'm just going to blend a little bit underneath it. I'm going round. I'm going back and forth as if this is round, which her neck is round. Your neck is round. And I have a black line here. So I'm going to blend in a little black with that brown. Just, you know, not a lot, but just a little bit, very lightly. I'm just going to blend in a little bit of black up in here. Colored pencils, you can do so much with a colored pencil. I do love to use colored pencils. You know what? I'm going to shade her forehead in a little bit dark because she's got all these snakes hanging over her forehead. So I'm going to shade that in a little bit. If you wanted to, I could draw this right off. This could go curve right off. This is like the curve of your neck into your shoulders. I could curve this. And if I did this, I would curve this right off the paper. So this whole area would be your neck, and it starts going down into your chest. So if I wanted to, let's say this is my green shirt. I would give myself a collar, and it would go kind of a little round. It would come down. I'm just going to run it off the paper because I don't want to get into drawing my shoulders because that's just another whole issue. So this could be my collar. I could color this. I'm just going to do this quickly. This is my green collar. Okay. I do want to go back and finish because my skin is going to go back in here. So my skin color comes right down underneath. Now I can draw patterns. I could draw, you know, my shirt could be checkerboard. It could have anything I want on it. I could just color it just a plain green if I wanted to, but of course I don't want to. So I'm going to trim this in blue. I'll give this a blue stripe. You know what? The more you add to your picture, the more interest it gives to the viewer. This also helps to really finish it off. Yes, Medusa's head in this painting is hanging, just kind of floating there, but this gives you a better finished look. Again, I still need to add more snake. I just kind of like having this finished look to my picture. And my shirt would just have stripes on it. And I could just keep, filling these stripes in if I wanted to. But I still want to go back to my snakes. This one that I did, I still need to do some shading on this one, but I did not have as much of a neck. And I actually kind of liked the white. It helps to show up the snakes. But if you think that you have too much white, I don't think I would put a color back here because it would take away from any of the colors that you have. If I was going to do anything, I think I would use a plain pencil, just a plain, ordinary pencil. And since everything is going up or across, I might use my pencil. I would do this diagonal. Okay. And I wouldn't worry about little spaces in between. Sometimes when you draw lines and it leaves spaces, this is just to fill in. This is just giving you a gray background. Its only purpose is to eliminate the white. That's all. And to highlight your colors. Let's do it on this one. So right here, to get rid of the white, I would, again, because my snakes are going up or they're going cross, I want this line direction to be different. So I would go diagonal, and I'm just getting rid of that white space. I'm going to have a snake coming up from here. So it goes here. This is a snake here, and I'm going to have it curve and maybe come out here. So maybe there's a head, there's a jaw. Okay, the head is going to come over. It's actually running off the paper, and that's fine. So there's the jaw, and here's an eye, and there's that head. It's not a lot of snake, but this is connecting down into here. This one, let's have one come up, and let's make a face. This one is actually going to be underneath that other one. So I'm only going to see part of an eye here, okay? And this snake is going to go underneath and around here. So it's not that you have to have complete snakes, because those snakes are just going every place around the head. You don't always have to see their face. But I think I do want another face someplace here. Yeah, this tail is coming in down here. We don't really see the end of that tail. This one is going to, I actually need to make this one. This actually, let's say, is going around the other side of her head. See, because this snake is probably attached to the back of her head, but moving. So it's creeping around the front. Yeah, we can make this as creepy as you want. We can make it really creepy. You know what? I'm going to just erase some of this right here because I want to make another snake face here. So there's another snake. There's a snake going underneath this tail. So this head's coming out here and then it's going to go underneath. No, let's make that bigger. So this is going to come out here. There are the eyes and then the nose comes down in here. Really so glad that you joined us, and I'm glad you had a good time. The Appleton Museum of Art, this was Myths and Legends.